Da-da-da! I have the newest Natasha Denona palette to hit the scene. This is the Hyper Natural Face Palette. Now, this is the first of its kind for the brand, so I was really excited to see this new format of palette. It's kind of supposed to be an all-in-one face palette, and one thing that she says that I'm gonna dive into just a little bit, as much as I can today, that this is a universal face palette. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on that. But first, with the details, this palette is $62. You can pick this up on the Natasha Denona website, Sephora, Ulta. I'll have all the places linked down below, though if you do order off the Natasha Denona website, I would say her website has really fast shipping, and I also have a code that will save you 15% off if you want to use that at checkout. But let's get into the palette. So here is the packaging. It is made in Italy, has a 24-month shelf life, and she had a fabulous video explaining the use of this palette on her Instagram if you guys want to check it out. This is supposed to be her no makeup look kind of palette, and I really understood the palette much more once she explained it. My fingerprints are already all over it. I did get asked in my DMs if these are magnetized. They are, just like her regular palettes. These do have the holes that you can poke a needle through, and each are going to come out individually, including the bronzer and the blush portion here. I played around a little bit with this yesterday, and also, since you guys know I'm at my parents' house right now, my mom, who has like NC40, NC42 skin tone, I made her use this because I needed to see how this would work on her as well. So in the palette, what we're claiming here, she went on to say how this is going to be like the softest, smoothest formula you've ever felt. You do have a trio here of bronzer and contour shades that you can customize however you would want, and it's also so that it works for a wider range of skin tones. And then we have two blush options here, and it says they are an ultra soft, innovative formula that delivers a smooth airbrush finish. And then we have 5 Hyper Silk eyeshadows here. So this is a new formula called the Hyper Silk formula, and it's supposed to have this luxurious, silky gel powder texture, and she formulated these in a way that they're supposed to be easy to use, one and done eyeshadows. So I'll put all of them on my eyes today. I loved how she named these based on the look you're supposed to get. So if you put it all over your lid, if you use this shade, it's supposed to be for every day. If you use this shade, it's supposed to give a dreamy look, a statement look, a soft look, and a casual look. And I did see on her Instagram, this palette is a permanent launch. Okay, let's get to swatching. I'm going to put an iPhone video swatch so you can see the colors a little bit better, because I'm not in my normal setup, so I'm struggling a bit with getting as accurate color as possible. But here is a close-up. Let's go ahead and swatch these bronzers. So it looks like we have some different undertones here, and nothing looks too warm, but let's take a look. These are really soft and silky feeling. Okay. It is a unique feel to these. They do feel very buttery, but not overly loosely powdered. Okay, when she said the softest formula I have ever felt, I mean, I wouldn't say that necessarily, but it's a unique feel for sure. So here's the first strip for fair skin tones. This one looked a bit orange on my mom. And then that's the deepest one. Now, the bronze and contour section, especially right here, is the only section where I'm really concerned about this on deeper complexions. On her Instagram, she said the blush and eyeshadows are so beautiful on darker skins. These are unique formulas and are different in application than conventional formulas, in a comment responding to this not being a deep, dark, skin-friendly palette. Now, my mom has a tan skin tone, and these worked on her no problem. Even she was using the middle shade, which leads me to believe on a darker skin tone than NC42 will work, but I am not sure about a deep dark skin tone. So if you do have a deep dark skin tone, if you want to weigh in, let me know in the comments how you think this would work. But honestly, the promotional photos were very, very light. I thought, it wasn't a smart move to do a universal palette, all-in-one palette, just one, because in the past, she's launched 2 different palettes for lighter and deeper skin tones. So to backtrack on that raises an eyebrow a little bit. I think it would have behooved her a bit more, maybe just to have an option for a lighter bronzing contour and then a deeper bronzing contour option, because honestly, the other shades here I think are pretty universal for most skin tones. but this one I'm worried about the most. But please weigh in if you know. I would love to hear how this works for deeper and darker skin tones. But honestly, I was very happy with how this worked on my mom, who has a tan skin tone, and she wasn't even pushing it. She was using the middle bronzer, so I think it's more universal than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's get to this coral blush formulation here. You have a lighter option and a deeper option. And obviously you are able to customize and mix the two. But do you see this one is quite pigmented? I'm getting no fallout with these. And then let's get into the eyeshadows. I'm curious as to how these formulas and colors would compare to what's in the Glam palette. You guys know my stuff is packed up in a truck right now, traveling the country, so I can't compare right now. But these formulas, especially this dreamy one, looks stunning. Feel is really soft, very silky, this dreamy one. Not too much fallout, but it's not a super slick formula. And here are these first 4 shades here. So we have Everyday, Dreamy. This one is like the glimmery, shimmery of the palette. Excited about that. Statement and Soft. These are giving good pigment here. Woo! I think these are stunning. And there's some depth shades here, and I think that some of these shades are gonna pop on a lot of different skin tones. And then we have Casual, which this is like a steel kind of color. Very pretty. So there are no matte colors. If you want matte, you can dig into the bronze and contour here. Those would be good crease colors and you're good to go. So we'll mess around with that today also, but really beautiful. Oh, I'm excited. I'm actually liking this a lot more in person than what I saw in the promo photos. So these are supposed to be one and done eyeshadows, and she does recommend you use a finger for these. So I'm going to start off with the darker ones. So I'm going to do Casual first. Really silky, smooth formula. I'm enjoying it a lot. Today's a good day to have no fake nails on. Yay. Really easy application. It doesn't give a ton of payoff. It's actually softer. And I am having to go back in to build it up, but that does make it easier to use. Now she recommends this 4 fingers. However, just to get a soft blend, it is nice to use a clean blending brush here to just sort of soften the edges. I don't know if I would say it's giving casual, but it is a really easy, simple smoky eye, I would say, like a light smoky eye. And I'm going to mix these 2 colors here. This is a Rephr 15 mini brush, and you can also use the bronzer side to kind of make the whole look come together. If I use that shade on the outer parts of my face, you use it on the outer parts to blend the eyeshadow, that's going to give a really cohesive look. You can do that with the blush as well, especially when you get to the soft look. It's quite pretty. Let's put a little bit of Casual on the lower lash line. With some mascara, I mean, that's a pretty look. And then just out of curiosity, can we use Statement right here, pushed into the lash line? Ooh, you can, and that adds kind of a smudgy level of definition. Really effortless, and this is kind of playing into the grungy looks that's really popular right now. I think it's a good time to actually try Statement. Now, if you actually want to create a look, use this shade all over the lid, this in the crease, and then this in the outer corner, and that will give you a full-blown look. But let's try Statement on its own. Yeah, I thought I would apply more pigment on first application with a finger, but it really is a thin formula. So I think it makes it easier to use with a finger like this. But I do feel the need to go in with a brush just to get that soft blend. And I don't have any color on this. So this is Statement, which is going to give a smokier look. Honestly, yeah, these are really nice kind of one and done color looks. Really effortless. No fallout here. Popping a little bit of Statement here on the lower lash line. You know, imagine this with some mascara. Again, very effortless looking. Out of curiosity, I'm going to take some of Dreamy, which is that glimmery shade. Yeah, you can pop this on top and layer if you would like. It's going to be interesting to see this shade on the eye on its own, but you can add a little bit more dimension that way. Okay, let's do Everyday next. This is a classic taupey shade that I would typically go for. Yeah, I just feel like these swatched super rich, but in application here, they're definitely softer, which I think makes it easier to use, but is something to keep in mind. Like this shade, if you have like a deeper skin tone, I don't know how well this one would show up. I think it would give a pretty sheen over the eye, but it definitely wouldn't give the same effect that it's giving me. Using a clean brush to blend it out. And don't worry about there not being any matte here. It's not overly glimmery over the eyelid, though. If you wanted to matte it down, go in with the contour shade, which is matte, and that will give a little bit more depth to the look, while also adding that matte element. So you also have that option, and that did deepen just a little bit. So you can do one and done, but I can't help myself. I'm just digging all over this palette and building. And really simple. You could also go in with a little bit of statement again for a smudgy liner look. This is a really good everyday color. It looked deeper in the pan, but for me, it's nice and soft for everyday. Now let's see what Dreamy looks like, because this is a really light glimmery shade. This is more of a layering color for how I would typically use it, but on bare lid, a little bit of concealer, no other color. That is quite pretty just for a little bit of sparkle. Now what I would normally do with a shade like this, right, I'd go into the bronze and contour, just add a little bit of natural depth here, and with it being the only color in here that actually contains glitter, it's nice to have this matte shadow over here, just for a little something. But you can go over bare lid, but that's kind of how I would do it. So that's also very pretty. And even though it's one and done, I really do like to see how these shadows would perform blended. This is adding a nice level of depth here. Oh my goodness, I love that. So you can get full looks if you want by using the palette all around, or you can get it one and done quickly. Last eyeshadow color, we're gonna do soft. This one's the pinky one. I'm dying to get some of the blush colors in with this look. This one's not giving, really. It's taking a lot of work to build it up to be seen on my eyelid. Okay, there we go. But I'm really digging into the pan here to get the color. And you see, it's just not, this one isn't giving off enough pigment. It's almost like a cream, but I don't know, I'm just really digging and going back and forth, and it's not giving me much. Now we got there. I'm using a 13 Max brush to blend the color. The color is very, very pretty. I don't know, honestly, I might have preferred these shades to just be a regular powder formula, because this one, it's like a cream more so. I wonder if these will dry out. I hope not. But this one is pushing in like a cream instead of a powder eyeshadow, or almost putty-like. You know what I mean when I say putty. A little bit on the lower lash line. I mean, it's pretty, it's soft, it gives a brightness to the eye, but I'm actually not in love with this shade. But I've been dying. I need to use the blush in the crease, which defeats the purpose of this being a one and done eyeshadow, but I'm just not that kind of gal. But this will help with the blend and then soften it. Let's do the bright part. Ooh, that really adds a little punch here. Honestly, I know a lot of people were worried about this being a fully shimmer eyeshadow option, but these are phenomenal basic crease colors as well, and they'll pull the look together if you use these on the face. So I personally don't even feel like I'm missing matte shades with this palette. I feel the face colors are sufficient enough on the eyes, because these are still giving enough pigment on the eyes. Sometimes with powder face colors, they won't give enough color when applied to the eyes. because they're meant to look softer on the face. These are giving me just enough to add that little pop of matte that I want. Let's go ahead and finish up the rest of the face because I need some bronzer. Okay, I do think having 3 different bronzers here is a little difficult not to get into one shade because this is my Rephr brush and I really have to angle it right here to get it to fit in each third. But if you have a fluffy bronzer brush, it's not going to work. You need one that's a little bit pinched in order to get it to fit. I'm going to try, hold on, let me get my smaller one. Let's get this shade. And you see, I feel like these bronzers are pulling deeper than they look because this is the lighter one on my face. Now I am light, but that added the prettiest contour on me. It's almost a little bit green. I think it might work really well on a fair skin tone. Okay, can we just do this one? This one looked a little off on my mom's skin tone, a little bit warm. I think it looks good on mine, but it showed up on her tan skin tone. But it is hard to not accidentally mix these shades. I'm doing my best. Now this deepest one, not made for my complexion, so should look a little dirty on me. I mean, it's a little dark, but it's good for really chiseling underneath the cheekbone. Surprisingly, I'm really into this shade right here. But if we mix them, which actually this is a little bit more powdery with a fluffy brush, it actually is quite deep when you mix all of them as well. Okay, I mean, honestly, on my skin tone, I'm into this product. I do think the pan needed to be bigger, or like I said, she had a second option where you could choose your bronze and contour option. That would have been better, I think. I would have preferred it to be split like this in 2 because the brush could fit, and then she could have done like a light medium and then a medium deep option. But for me, on every day, I like this product. I think it's nice. And it's a very smooth, easy application. Now blush, I'm going to use a Haley's Beauty brush. And we're going to go into the lighter shade. Now this one I think is only going to work for light to medium skin tones. You can use it as a brightening shade on darker skin tones. I think that would be cool. You just have to use it in a different way. You know, on the under eyes and stuff for a pink look. But it's a soft pink blush on my skin tone. I'm going to use a light hand for the darker one because this one is quite pigmented. I really think this blush is going to work on a deep skin tone. I'm using a really light hand here because I did add more depth here on this cheek. Then mixing them together is really nice as well. And if the darker shade right here is a little too dark, you can always go in with the lighter shade just to soften it and blend it out. Really cohesive with the eye look I have going on today as well. Now this palette, the setup, the layout, the choices she did, I like better than the Glam face palette. If you recall, that one had like a cream blush and then a highlight. I think with this bronzer trio and this blush duo, there's so much more versatility in this palette. Now in the Glam face palette, I much preferred the eyeshadows that she had. This is a new, unique formula from NATASHA Denona, with the exception of this shade. Especially the soft shade, it has almost like a putty cream feel to it. So it's unique, but these aren't going to give the payoff that the Glam face palette had because those were her classic eyeshadow formulations. I honestly just wish these were all powders, if I'm being honest with you. The formula is fine, it's new, it's easy to use, but I love NATASHA Denona for her powder eyeshadows. So if these were her classic eyeshadows, I would have probably been happier. But I really love the top row here. So if she did the Glam face eyeshadows with these cheek products, that's the perfect travel palette for me. Not that this one isn't good, but you know what I'm saying. I'm actually surprised none of these are a good face highlight color. Perfect opportunity to pop on the new Dior Forever Glow Maximizer. Haven't tried this over powder yet. I posted my review yesterday on these if you want to see them, but I didn't use these over powder. Honestly, these are acting quite nice over powder. And I had a really glowy base. yesterday when I used this, so you can kind of see more of how this looks. Not the review you came to watch today, but I'm testing these as well. I just don't like a liquid highlight though, typically. But these are acting so nice over powder. But definitely a more subtle glow, but really gorgeous for this look. So here is the final look that I'm going for today. Honestly, I really do like this palette. $62 is a bit steep, but I think this palette has great versatility. It's easy to use. And if you are a one and done type of gal, you don't want to think about what colors you're going to use on your face, what looks you're going to do. You just want a little pop of color on the cheeks, a little pop of color on the eyes, simple makeup. I think that this is a great, easy to use palette for you, and it's phenomenal for travel. Like I said, I really do feel like you can do a lot with this palette. Is it the perfect palette for me? No, mostly because these colors as an eyeshadow lover don't give me enough, but they do add a pretty wash over the eyelid. So what would I rate this, right? I think, you know, this is for a specific type of person. I don't know if I'm that type of person. I would rate it like a 7 out of 10, just because it's not the Natasha Denona eyeshadow formula that I love, but it was for a specific type of person and a specific type of look. So for what she was going for, one and done, super simple, easy to use makeup that anybody can use, I think she did a great job with this palette, and I think there's more versatility to this than people are giving credit for. You can do full eyeshadow looks with this. There are mattes, you just have to use the cheek colors. The cheek colors are very easy to use, very easy to blend. I think you're safe for this palette working for a fair to tan skin tone. Anything darker than that, I need to hear your thoughts down below, because obviously I couldn't test it on anybody darker than my mom. So please let me know in the comments, because that is the main concern. I think it was just one easy fix of switching out the bronzer, honestly, because the blush is quite versatile. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you picked up this palette, let me know your thoughts down below. Again, I will have all the links to purchase this palette in all of the places down below for you guys. And let me know if you have any questions down below, and I'll see you guys later. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye.